Here's some quick transfer news as part of our daily transfer talk, and it's centred around current Bayer Leverkusen centre-back, much in demand, Jonathan TAH. So we pick up here, this is a story that broke around Easter time. Jonathan TAH confirms departure from Bayer Leverkusen. So this is, according to bundesliga.com, a much revered, trusted and respected source for us. After 10 years and almost 300 Bundesliga games for Bayer Leverkusen, defender Jonathan TAH confirmed that he'll be leaving the work shelf at the end of the season upon the expiry of his contract. Yeah, look, and that was announced at Easter the day after the 1-1 draw with St. Pauli. You know, that Ferris wheel in the background? So he's decided not to stay, so he'll be available basically on a free, on a Bosman. Just to confirm, by the way, there is Jonathan TAH. So he's played, 400 games for Leverkusen. He was bought for the princely sum of, I think it was around €7.5 million. Let's call it 10 because there was various add-ons and performance-related bonuses. That's very much an in vogue term. So let's call it 10 million. So €10 million. Signed from Hamburg. He's been there for 10 years. 400 games, look, as you can see. Most of those coming in the Bundesliga. He's played in the Europa League. He's played in the Champions League. Obviously played in the native DFB Pokal. So, and he was core to the invincible domestic double that Leverkusen went on last season under Xabi Alonso, where they won both the Meisterschale and the DFB Pokal, and he even got to the final of the Europa League. In fact, there were one I always get this one right. One Adamoli Lookman hat-trick away from completing a treble. Wasn't to be. Anyway, so there's Jonathan TAH, say 400 games for Leverkusen. Now, this story has a shift in, well, it's not linear, I should say. So, I don't want to start there. We pick it up in December, where Jonathan TAH, this is according to various Barcelona news sites, that Jonathan TAH is set to join Barcelona on a free transfer in this calendar year. Of course, at that point in time, Andres Christensen, this guy, this Danish defensive midfielder stroke centre-back, who's been used as a centre-back under Hansi Flick. He was out injured. In fact, he still is injured. He's on the road to recovery now, bless him. But Anders Christensen was out injured at the time. So there was a real need for Barcelona to bulk up in defence. Bearing in mind, though, this is the state of Barcelona, as I just scroll quickly through. Are their defensive options. Right, so just put a pin in that, okay? So, again, it's reported that he was going to join up with Hansi Flick, who he played for under Hansi Flick in the Gemeinschaft squad. There you can see. There's that. German defender known for his defensive prowess, aerial dominance and ball distribution skills, has been a long-time target for Barcelona's sporting director, Deco, and head coach Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick, who worked with Jonathan TAH during his time in Germany, he said to be particularly keen on bringing the defender to the new camp. Right, so that news item goes back to Boxing Day last year, so like Christmas, holiday time, right? And of course, that would have been neat because the Bundesliga, very practical-minded, they split the season in half because they foresee the adverse weather conditions that's going to impact potential safety of players and travelling fans around the holiday period, right? So that would have been very apt, and again apt because of all the injuries. And then we pick up here again, where this is the Bavarian Football Works. We do put a lot of stock in this as well. So apparently Jonathan TAH was due to sign for Munich last summer, so that's summer of 2024, but apparently that fell through on the basis that there was a disagreement of valuation on the transfer. As you can see, look, at the time, the move fell through due to a transfer fee difference of €5 million, and that hurt Jonathan TAH very much. Internally, he'd already told Xabi Alonso and Fernando Caro, the bald CEO sticker syrup on it. He'd already told the executives and his coach that he wanted to go to Munich, and that fell through because there was this. They couldn't quite agree on the transfer fee, right? So maybe that's getting under his skin. Maybe that's a factor which is going to rule out a move to Munich. Anyway, then we come back to domestic news because we're in the UK, even though we're passionate, about the Bundesliga. We're in the UK, and apparently Barcelona again are going to hijack Man United's move. So Man United, under the current coach is Ruben Amorim, and I say current because you don't know, right? Because they coming out of that revolving door at Old Trafford, the theatre of memes, as they've become. Manchester United are ready to hijack Barcelona move for Jonathan TAH on the basis that they have an ageing Harry Maguire, and they're also losing out on certain players due to the Bosman principle, which, if I could just jump around here, look. So this is a list of all players, the best free agents available on a Bosman come this summer. And if you scroll down here, this is the Premier League. So there's some names. Yeah, Gonzo's just putting out to me that Arsenal are due to... I said we there. Arsenal are due to lose Thomas Partey and Jorginho as free agents. Spurs there. Tottenham going to lose out on Sergei Reguilon and Ben Davis. And if we come to Man United, Christian Eriksen, what a servant he's been despite all his personal troubles. And that dicky ticker of his. So they're set to lose out on Eriksen, but it's at the back, look. So Johnny Evans will be moving on as part of a Bosman. And I'm sure there was Victor Lindelof as well was on that list. Let's just assume he was. Anyway, we come back to that. So we've got Jonathan TAH last summer on the cusp, lovely word, on the cusp of joining Bayern Munich, bitter rivals as they've become over the last few years with Leverkusen, but they fell out over €5 million. So that apparently is like sticking in the back of the throat. It's getting under the skin of Jonathan TAH. Then he was due to go to Barcelona, but that's not happened because what happened in the end was that Eric Garcia was sort of brought in along with Inigo Martinez. This is Hansi Flick's Barcelona team, who are already stacked with defenders with huge potential for the future. So Pau Kabasi is only 18. Ignacio Martinez he's getting on a bit in years, but he's had a great season. Look, he's been trusted. Those two have played 54 games between them so far. 52 games between them. There's Ronald Araujo, great name, stunning here as well. There's Eric Garcia. They've got this young lad as well, Sergei Dominguez, and Christensen, who's only made one appearance due to injury. So they're already stacked out with defenders, Barcelona. So that suggests that transfer may or may not happen. And very similar to a lot of other clubs around Europe, well, everyone around in the world, right? It's like a one in, one out policy, yeah? If someone's going to come in, then you have to make room for them, not only in terms of like locker room space, but the numbers, right? The money, because it's salary, right? That's another person that's going to go onto the books. You've got to balance the books. So that's going to be an interesting challenge for Barcelona if they go ahead with that. That sort of closes that loop off. And then apparently Man United faced this nightmare scenario because their other rivals, Newcastle apparently have stepped up interest. I mean, Newcastle have been rumoured to want to bring in Mark Guehi from Crystal Palace. That's an item that's been doing the rounds for a few months now. And if we come to here, look, transferfee.com. Eddie Howe wants to strengthen his defence ahead of a title challenge next season. Again, because Newcastle are technically top six. At one point, they were up to fourth in the Premier League. And again, that means they're definitely playing in the Europa League next season on the back of winning the Carabao Cup because they beat Liverpool. Was it 2-0? Yeah, but it was 2-0 in the final. And again, here, look. Newcastle are on course to secure Champions League qualification, which may appeal to Jonathan TAH. He already wants out anyway, right? Newcastle's it's a massive club in the north of England, huge fan base. They could keep building on tier after tier at St James's Park, and it would still fill it, right? So that's an option. And then Liverpool, but this feels a bit clickbait to us, because most of this article, if you read it from BarcaUniversal.com, focuses on the existing link between Hansi Flick and Jonathan TAH, because the two worked together for Die Mannschaft. They worked together. Jonathan TAH, an interesting side note as well, I read somewhere that in 2016, during the summer break, Jonathan TAH had literally landed down in Miami with his family. His bags were obviously being scuttled up to his room by concierge, and the phone goes and it's Hansi Flick saying, "Would you like to come and play for Germany?" And he's like, "Yes," tells his wife, tells his kids, "I'm off," and literally jumps on the next flight back to Germany. And then there was a beautiful line that said, 2 years ago, I sat my feet up watching Germany win the World Cup, and only 2 hours ago, I sat opposite that same team having dinner. There you go. That's how quick football can move sometimes. That was back in 2016. Of course, Jonathan TAH has been ever present since. Last game that he played for Die Mannschaft was in that UEFA Nations League quarter-final against Italy, where they came out on top, but only just. And he had a bit of a mare, didn't he, in that game. Anyway, we come back here. Look, this is Twitter. This is a trusted source in Roger Torello. News just in. This was May 2nd, and this has been recorded on May 9th. Jonathan TAH's priority is to join Barcelona. He wants to play for the Catalan side. That was May 2nd. And then it's some interesting comments, as there always is, right? Some people should not be allowed to go on the internet, let alone leave their house. People are saying, no. If he wants to come, there's no space for him. He can go to Madrid, which is fascinating because, again, that was one of the rumours that's been doing the rounds. And then here we pick up with Mia Samir on Twitter. This is a trusted source for Liam & Co. at the Bayern View. Bayern's second, this is picking up on the thread of TAH going to Bayern Munich. Bayern's second focus this summer after Florian Wirtz is on strengthening their back line. The club has renewed their interest in Jonathan TAH, who was viewed as a potential defensive leader. Meanwhile, Ko Itakuru, who is fantastic at Mönchengladbach, by the way, scored a couple of, an outrageous header against St. Pauli, and then a goal against Dortmund where it looked like it was a striker. Ko Itakura could be more of a backup option. Max Eberl, shiny pants man with the glasses, who's calling the shots, is one of the execs at Bayern Munich. Max Eberl and his chief scout Nils Schmadtke, that'll do, won't it? Have a good relationship with Mönchengladbach, which is where Itakura currently plays. Now, just digging into this one, this is the state of Bayern Munich at present, right? So 3, 6, 9 listed defenders on their squad, look. Now, you can go through and it's a bit of fun, right? Injured, crocked, injured, question mark on Sacha Boey, in the sense that they paid 30 million for him from Galatasaray, and apparently Galatasaray have made a proposal to Bayern Munich that if they don't want him, then it's likely they'll take him on loan with a view to buying him back. We'll explore that on a future daily transfer talk special. And you've got various other people. Eric Dier's off as well, isn't he? He's off to AS Monaco. So yeah, Ito out injured as well, I should say. So injured, crocked. Jury's out, question mark, leaving. And I don't know much about Tarek Buchmann, but he's not getting a regular game. I think he's been out on loan, actually. So out of 9 defensive players listed, or registered, I should say, for Bayern Munich, there's only one, and he technically is a utility player. So 1, 2, 2.5, you get 3. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 2 are injured for a while. So yes, it's becoming painstakingly obvious that Munich are desperate for a centre-back option. Again, check out Liam at the Bayern View and they'll scream that in your face all day long. We still think that they should go after this guy. This is Munich, sorry. Dean Houston, who's currently, well, he's a Spanish international, but he's got a dual citizenship with the Netherlands because his name is Dutch sounding, right? Houston. He's currently playing for Bournemouth. He was picked up for €10 million from Juventus. And so far in the Premier League this season, he's played 33 games. He's actually scored 3 times. He scored quite recently. We think that Munich should go after this guy because he's young, right? Again, he's 20. And then the other centre-back option that they could go for outside of Jonathan TAH, we've already covered it, really. Would have been, Ko Itakura. He'd have been on our list. So, we come back to the Jonathan TAH transfer saga. Where's he going to go? Is he going to Barcelona? Is he going to Manchester United? Is he going to Liverpool? Is he going to Newcastle? This seems like it's got a lot of legs, this story. Tell you what hasn't got a lot of legs, and that's the Bayern Munich defence. Oh, and of course, just for a bit of a giggle, Spurs, of course they are. This is the boy Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur continue to be linked with a move for former Bayer Leverkusen defender Jonathan TAH. Oh, not former, but it should say former. So I misread that, but I was very prophetic in what I've just said. Look, and it's true. Tottenham do need Jonathan TAH. There's a lot of clubs that are in need of someone with this level of experience. Again, 400 games for Leverkusen, 35 appearances at international level for Die Mannschaft. Yeah, he is a very sought after centre back. But where's he going? Where do you think Jonathan TAH's going? You know the drill by now. Come on, let us know in the comment section down below. And how about you find it in your heart to give me a like, even subscribe, and tell your friends at the bus stop, down the pub, or on the park, or in that 5-a-side court, or maybe you play 11-a-side. Season's nearly over though, isn't it? So you're more likely to be playing 5-a-side. Anyway, please like and subscribe. This was a Jonathan TAH transfer talk special. Where's he going? Let us know. Our money would be on Bayern Munich. Mia Samir, take care.